So hi everyone, very good morning to all my dear students, and I'm happy to be back with all of you today for yet another session of Transform series. And today it's going to be just me. So Dr. Sumer had to go for a convocation to Mumbai, and I'm going to be here with all of you today. And since it is just me today, I decided to take up a topic which I keep getting a lot of queries about, and you can keep writing in your, in the chat box as well what you want to know, right? And this session is going to be dedicated to the wrong diary. Yes, so we have talked about grant tests, we've talked about scores of the grant test, we've talked about frequency of the grant tests, right? And one thing that we definitely did say was that if you have to increase your number of correct questions in the grant test, then it will have to be through your wrong diary, right? So today's session is going to be dedicated to wrong diary and how exactly should you do it, how exactly should you make it, how should you plan your day with it. And I'm going to promise that by the second or at the max third, mostly by the second grant test that you give with your focus on your wrong diary, your number of correct questions will improve for sure, right? So is everyone ready? Now, the first thing I need to know or I need to tell you is that when we talk about the wrong diary, you can use it with any test, right? But the most important test that you should use the wrong diary with is going to be your grant test. Yes, the wrong diary is your 20th notebook. It is your go-to notebook, which you can use for revisions, which you can even, or you should do even, let's say, one day before the exam. ठीक है? So are you all ready? So मैंने बोला सबसे पहले the test that we are going to use the wrong diary with is primarily going to be a grant test. Yes. So now what exactly are we wanting to do in the wrong diary? So number one, the wrong diary is going to be through the 3-column strategy. I did talk about what those 3 columns are in brief. Yes, in the other transform session. So do you remember what were the 3 columns? So we said the first column is the topics that we have done wrong. Okay. I will tell you what exactly needs to go in that first column. Okay? Now, the second column is going to be your memory recall errors. So some factual questions, memory-based questions that you have done wrong. Okay. And your third column is going to be new topics column. So suppose you gave a grant test and you came across something new which you haven't done so far, but arey wo to paper mein aa gaya, right? So that is going to be your third column. So we are going to go from the third column. I'm going to describe that first. Then I will talk about the second and the first column. So the third column, as I said, is going to be something that you need to put down as a new topic. Now, the first thing I have to say is by this time, you will realize that this column is going to be the shortest one because, you've read a lot. So there will be probably only 1 or 2 things which you come across as new, right? And what are you going to do? Now, in that column, you're just going to write the name of the topic. And very essentially, if it is a new topic or a subtopic, I want you to definitely listen to the video solutions of the grant test, right? And restrict your information to what the faculty has particularly told. Now, because it is a new topic, maybe it is an update, right? So something that changed. So there is no need to go and do a research work at this time before your exams for new topics. You're going to restrict your information to what the faculty has told. There is no need to fetch more and more information about it because number one, the probability of that coming in the exam is less. Number two, if you focus too much on new things, you are not revising. And what happens is at this time, we have to spend more time and more energy in revising so that our recall rate is better. Okay? So the third column should be the restricted one with restricted information, probably sticking to updates and something new that has come up, but restricting the information. Now coming to the second column. Okay? I will take your queries also once I finish talking about all 3 columns and how to use the wrong diary. The second column, as I said, is recall errors. ठीक है. Now what are we going to write in that? Now मैंने पहले भी ये बताया था. Let us say, it is, let's take example of obs and gynae. Yes, there is definitely going to be some factual things in every subject. Yes, even if it is a clinical subject, we will have some fact-based information. Now, if you go back to your notes, you will realize probably the fact-based information is quite a lot. So sometimes you have to remember the endometrial thickness. Sometimes you have to remember the named sign. Sometimes you have to remember some other information. And you get overwhelmed. कि इसको कैसे याद करना है? So now, instead of putting your energy onto all the facts in your notes, let's try and focus on facts which have come in the GT and which we have done wrong as well. Right? So सारे नहीं लिखने हैं. हमने second column में we will write those facts which came in the grand test and we did them wrong because of the recall or memory error. And we will write it in the second column itself of the wrong diary. Instead of writing it somewhere else, we will write it in the wrong diary itself. Why? Because every time you do a mistake and you write, you are reinforcing. Number two, you will have a go-to place where you will have all the facts together and you can revise even close to the exam. Why this column is important? Because this has those facts which are more probable to be asked in the exam, and also you were poor at remembering them. So, you are merging the two zones and ensuring that it is very, very productive. So, Sara factual information jo aap galat kar rahe ho should go in the second column and write it at one place. But we are going to write it subject wise, right? So I'll tell about the details of the wrong diary. Okay. Now, the first one, okay, the first column is the most important column, and that is the subtopics I am doing wrong. Yes, Mansi, I'll come to your, query as well in a moment. So I'll take all the queries once I'm done with the three columns. So the first column is the subtopics that I have done wrong. Now, this is the place where most of you go wrong and you make it in a way that it becomes very, very overwhelming. In the first column, we have to very specifically write exactly what we have done wrong. For example, I typically give the example of postpartum hemorrhage. Let's say you've done a question wrong, and this question was about AMTSL. Some of you will write, okay, I did PPH wrong. Yes. Now, if you realize PPH by itself is a very large topic, it could take around 1 hour to revise. Okay. But then we defeat the purpose. Even if I read whole PPH, there is no guarantee that I will do the question on AMTSL right. Yes, because I didn't pay attention to the detail of what I have done wrong. So in the first column, I want you to write very specifically exactly kya galat kiya. Was it components of AMTSL? Was it the drug names? Was it the drug doses and the routes? Right? So where exactly was it information like does oxytocin have to be given within 1 minute or at the delivery of anterior shoulder and so on? Now, what happens is when you go specific, right, you know what exactly to go back and see in your notes, right? So instead of spending whole 1 hour on revising PPH, you will be focusing exactly on what you did wrong. And this will ensure that you don't repeat the same mistake again, which means you will convert your weakness into your strength. Now comes queries which students have. Number one, ma'am, when I write it very specific, I have FOMO. I feel, okay, I would have done this, but I will forget the rest. Okay. Now, this is exactly what you need to know. Bache, to improve your precision rate and to get over the FOMO, the idea is we can give multiple tests and we can keep identifying our mistakes, right? So maybe if some other part of PPH is wrong, you will probably do it wrong and it will come across to you and you'll go back and see. Yes. Also, realize that when we talk about the wrong diary, if you do not make it specific, you will not be able to revise those topics. And it's very important to revise. So, I हमेशा बोलती हूँ that between one grand test, okay, and the second grand test, whatever your frequency is, your frequency could be 1 week interval, your frequency could be 10 days interval, your frequency could be 15 days interval. Now, between two grand tests, you have to ensure that the wrong diary is revised. So we are going to spend 1 to 2 hours. Now we are close to the exam. So preferably 2 hours, maybe every night or early morning, right? Or middle of the day, whatever time you decide. but spend 2 hours to revise topics from your wrong diary. So you need to go back to your notes and see what exactly you've done wrong. Next query, ma'am, there are 19 subjects. How do I do the wrong diary for 19 subjects? So you don't have to do it for all subjects together. It is absolutely fine if you focus on your bottom 5 subjects. So let's say you have done maximum number of wrong questions, and it has to be percentage, right? So if you have done maximum number of wrong questions, let's say in ophthal, in anatomy, in obs and gynae, in biochemistry, so pick up your bottom 5 subjects and focus on them. They are the ones who are spoiling your score. So your goal should be, if I'm not able to do 19, I should at least do bottom 5 subjects between one GT and the other GT. Next, ma'am, this gives me FOMO. What about other subjects? And this is what I tell them. When you constantly follow wrong diary, what is going to happen is that your bottom 5 subjects are going to change. Every time they will change. For example, initially you realized your ophthal was weak. What will happen in the next GT is that ophthal will become better and probably ENT will come down. So if you follow this trend consistently, by rotation, you will be revising all 19 subjects. Not just that, you will be revising all 19 subjects. What will you be revising? You will be revising things that you are weak in, things that you are not able to recall, and things probably which you have left out, right? Maybe your content was superficial. So this is why the concept of wrong diary and 20th notebook will work when you do it consistently. And that's why I said, if you follow this, by second or at the max by the third GT that you give with wrong diary, your number of correct questions will surely improve. In fact, I can give it to you in writing that if you follow this, no matter where you are, if you are at 90, you will improve. If you are at 100 correct, you will improve. If you are at 140 correct, you will improve. But you need to do it consistently. The only thing that is important is frequency. Samajh rahe ho? Somebody who is at less than 125 correct needs to work more on their content. वो ज़्यादा गलतियां कर रहे हैं. So therefore, you need to give GT at a longer interval, once in 15 days, right? Somebody who is between 125 to 140, आप थोड़ी कम कर रहे हो but फिर भी कर रहे हो. So give your GTs at interval of 10 days. Give yourself to revise your wrong diary. Somebody who is at 145 correct or more, give it at 1 week intervals or probably every 3 days, right? If you give yourself adequate time to go back to your mistakes, you will improve, and that's a promise that I am making. Okay, you just need to understand that it has to be done consistently for you to improve, right? So those are the 3 columns. Now, one by one, I'm going to take your queries. So you can start typing in the chat box. What are your concerns about the wrong diary or the 20th notebook? And I will keep addressing them. Now, the first query is given by Mansi. She says that she's making a wrong diary, but she's using it for every test like a GT, SWT, PYQ, 10X, and now she's not able to revise it fully. Right? So Mansi, you have to prioritize बच्चे. मैंने बोला the most important test for which you should follow the wrong diary is grand test. Okay? इसके अलावा the second important would be maybe PYQs or your TND papers. They are very, very important because TND क्या cover करता है? They are covering the recent pattern of the papers. So if you are doing mistakes in the recent pattern questions, you need to work on them. Right? So second priority could be your test paper, like a TND paper, okay, or your fast track TND paper or your transform 10x paper, right? But test paper, especially your TND paper, is very, very important, for which you should use the wrong diary. The third paper is SWT. So first was grand test, second is your TND paper, third is SWT. Why do I say that? SWT covers last 5 to 7 year PYQs. So once you're done with recent pattern, use it for SWTs. But I will repeat, it will be most effective when you use the wrong diary limited to grand test. So if it is overwhelming for all tests, please use it for grand test, Mansi. Okay. All right. So next question, I will take it for Medico. He or she is saying, my GT score varies very much, right? So one GT I do very well and the other I don't do well. What do I do? right? Now, when you say that, it probably means there are certain subjects uh, that you need to revise on a multiple mode, कुछ चीजें शायद आपके लिए ज्यादा volatile है medico, right? So once you identify what are those volatile things, maybe when you do them recently, you're able to do them correct. But when they become a spaced memory, then that's where the problem is. So again, for you, I will suggest identify your bottom subjects, identify subjects which are pulling you down, right? And you need to work on them. What happens is we are all fond of certain subjects and we read them. But there are certain subjects we don't like. Maybe I don't like physiology. Maybe I don't like biochemistry. So I keep dilly-dallying. I don't study them. What will happen is they will pull down my score. So do them. Okay. Also, I want to say when you make an error in the wrong diary and you're writing it down, I want you to analyze in a better way. You have to see, number one, is your mistake a content based mistake? Matlab, I did not know this. Okay. I did not read this. Then it is a content based mistake. For content mistakes, which means your content was superficial or inadequate, you need to go back to your notes to read them. If you leave your content superficial, you'll get trapped. Second, is your mistake a concept application mistake? Matlab, I did read this content, but I was not able to apply it when I was solving the MCQ. Then for you, more important than going back to your main notes is actually listening to the video solutions. So at DAMS, you know that we give video solutions for almost every test except the mocks. Mocks में कुछ में है, कुछ में नहीं है, right? So for application-based mistakes, please do video solutions. For students who feel they have a lot of application mistakes, for you, TND videos is an excellent way. So let's say, Pat, I'm doing a lot of questions wrong. They're all application-based. Please do the TND of pathology. Listen to how teachers approach the MCQ, how they figure out keywords, how they integrate, how they tell you what is the next step, right? So for application mistakes, video solutions should be seen for sure, right? Third, was it a memory recall error? Matlab, I read it, but this is my far memory, I have forgotten. So write it in the second column as a memory recall error. So go deeper into your analysis. Just don't see, acha ye meri galti hai. See what kind of mistake it is, okay? All right, so next I will take a query of Anushka. She says, ma'am, how to revise volatile subjects like pharma, biochem? I keep forgetting them. Fair enough. Even I would forget, and I think it would be a constant problem with most of the students. So, what I say is for subjects which are very volatile, like pharma, like biochemistry, instead of doing them in one go, do them over a longer period of time. So, how I used to tackle my weaknesses when I was in your phase is if something is weak for me, I will not say that whole day I will study physio and I'll make it strong. No. What I would do is I would spread physio over next 7 days and do it bit by bit, but do it every day. I would do repeated hammering for a small number of time, but I will do it every day. For example, one day in physio, I will only do CVS and I will just revise that. Next day is physio, I will maybe take up another topic. Next day, I will take up another topic, right? And for volatile subjects, it is important that you stick to the most high yielding information close to the exam, right? So please use your LRR and your DBT notes for volatile subjects. Do those subjects at least 3 to 4 times and you will realize that your hit rate improves, right? So that's the way. If something is volatile, it has to be done every day. You have to restrict your information and you have to do it multiple number of times. Okay, so I hope that helps. Then I'll take another query from Akhil. Akhil says, I'm scoring 90 to 100. I give GT in every 15 days. I will be able to give only 4 to 6 GTs like this. So it leaves me with FOMO. Akhil, mujhe aapko ye batana hai. This is again a very constant query. If your number of correct question is less, can you tell me how will you improve by just giving more GTs? You give 20 GTs, Akhil, and you will still be securing 100 correct. How is it going to help? Frequency will not help unless your content is strong. On the other hand, if somebody tells me, ma'am, I have 145 correct, I have 150 correct, can I give every third day, fourth day? Yes, because the number of mistakes you are doing is less. So you will be able to revise more. You need to identify more mistakes and then go and work on them. But Akhil, you need to work on your content. Quality is more important than quantity. है ना? So what I would have done in your place, Akhil, instead of giving more GTs, I will figure out which subjects I'm weak in, do the wrong diary, and in those subjects, I will give other tests. Maybe a transform 10x mini test, maybe my class test, maybe my SWT. So that will ensure I'm selectively working on a subject that is pulling my overall score down, right? I hope that helps. The next query will be, Jane, I keep thinking I don't have time and end up not doing wrong diary and GT analysis. Now, this is a blunder, bache. Okay? Please remember, everybody has the same amount of time. Okay? It's about how effectively we use that time. If you keep procrastinating that I don't have time, how will I revise GT? You are in a loop. You need to break that cycle. And believe me, the only thing which will give you confidence is when you see your number of correct questions improving. Nothing else will give you the confidence that you need. So it is a kind request. Do not focus on only giving a GT. Do not focus only on the frequency of GT. प्लीज मेरी हाथ जोड़ के आप सबसे विनती है, रिक्वेस्ट है, more important than giving the GT is analyzing it. Please start doing it. Even if it consumes your time, it is worth it. The only way to improve your score is to know what you don't know, right? We can't run away from it. We have to tide over that thing. ठीक है? देखो, हमारे जो fear होते हैं, either we live with them for our life. Okay, we accept, okay, this is my fear, I'm scared of it, and I have to live with it all my life. And what does that fear do? It spoils my quality of life. It's always going to raise a panic attack, an anxiety attack, oh, whenever I face that situation. On the other hand, what I can do with my fears is I face it and I condition myself that if I am exposed to this environment, how am I going to calm myself? What are the next steps that I am going to take? Right? It is very important that you learn that when you have a combat situation, okay, how are we going to tackle it? What would be my next most appropriate step? And it has to be, conditioned. You will not be able to do it one time. So expose yourself to more errors. Please don't be scared of making mistakes, right? Okay. Gaurav says, मैम अभी GT देने चाहिए या only INI mock test पे focus करना चाहिए? Gaurav, if you are focusing on INI CT for the time being, then yes, giving INI CT mock test is a very good idea, and you can reduce the grant. It's one and the same thing. Okay, GT is just called as a GT. Mock is a type of GT which is focusing on that particular exam. So they're not two different things. It is just a focused GT on INI CT exam. So before INI CT, it's a good idea to give the mock test. And on the DAMS-eMedicoz, in the test series section, there are at least 10 mock tests for INI pattern, and I will be adding more mock tests. I will make one actually free for all as well, so that all of you can practice probably around 30th of April. But yes, giving mock tests at this time specific to the exam is a good idea. But Gaurav, I will repeat, more important than the type of paper, always look out for your mistakes, right? And go back and correct them, right? Okay, Ninja says, ma'am, I'm doing revision, but kuch yaad nahi ho raha, feeling empty. Beta, this is again a very natural close to the exam, right? We get scared. So, जैसे मैंने आपको कहा, you need to condition yourself. Don't get scared. किस चीज से डर लगता है? अगर रिविजन से डर लगता है तो उसको करो. Pick up your DVT book, pick up your LRR notes, and start doing them. If you focus in the month of April on LRR, so like around 20th tak, do one cycle of LRR, and after 20th of April, stick to DVT, do 3 revisions, you will be good. A lot of things will come to you reflexly in the exam. Okay. Okay, then we will take a query from Ishwarya. Ma'am, whenever I do test, I feel all the questions I'm not sure about, they're familiar, but elimination mein gadbad hota hai. So, which means, bache, you need more revisions, Ishwarya. If you feel that you've heard about these things, but you're not very sure, you will need to increase your revision. Plus, maybe you need to look at the finer details. Sometimes the options are in depth, like in INI exam. And I did the INI PYQ ka BAP session yesterday. I hope you all attended it and I hope you liked it. I've gone all out to help you with the PYQ ka BAP to cover important things. So, I gave examples there that INI is going to ask the teeny details here and there. So sometimes, Ashwarya, when you look at the options, they are more in depth, and that is why you get confused. So you could have two problems. Number one problem could be revisions. So if you do more revisions, you will be more sure of the options. The number two problem could be some topics may be superficial beta. So if you identify those topics and go and do more content in those topics, especially the ones that are asked in INI, it will really be helpful to you. Okay, we'll take the last few queries and then we will wind the session up. Okay, we have a query that says, ma'am, I've been doing my main notes only, not LRR. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. If you have a good, visual memory of your main notes and you're able to reduce the time, then you can do your main notes. See, why we did LRR was we had a lot of queries where the bacha said that, ma'am, I am taking a very long time to revise my notes and therefore I will not be able to do multiple revisions. So those bachas who are not able to reduce the time, for them we specially did LRR. We said, okay, hum apne notes ko khud, we will shorten them for you so that you take lesser time, but you don't miss the content, right? So LRR was made by the faculty themselves. They have concised their own notes so that you're able to do faster revisions, right? But if you're able to do faster revisions from your main notes, you have a good visual memory, then absolutely yes, you can use your main notes. Okay. Yes, if you have to cut down the notes because you cannot do all of it all over again every time. See, the idea is first read revision may you have to take 50% less time, second revision may again 50% less time. So suppose first reading may you did something in 10 hours, second reading may you do it in 5 hours, and third reading may you have to do it around 2.5 to 3 hours. That's how it should be. You have to keep narrowing the time. Okay. How to do divide day into subjects. Oh, all right. So yes, I can take that up as well. So what I would suggest is everyone should try it out. If you're not able to make a productive schedule of your day, this is how I do it even now. I divide my day into subsections. So there is a morning section, there is an afternoon, evening, and night, right? And I would, do the things that scare me most right in the morning. As Dr. Sumer says, eat the frog in the morning. Suppose I am scared of giving a grand test, I would give it in the morning. Suppose I am scared of revising biochemistry LRR, I would do it in the morning itself, right? So I divide my day into 4 parts and I do the most difficult thing right in the morning itself. I get over with it because that is creating stress on me. Also, what I usually do is I divide my day into 4 parts. In the morning, afternoon, and evening session, I do different things or different subjects. So let's say in the morning, I'm doing biochemistry, but in the afternoon, I decided, okay, because I did genetics and biochemistry, I will revise the metabolic syndromes from pediatrics as well. So I try and integrate and revise important key topics. Okay. And maybe in the evening, I do a lighter thing, right? Because I've done 2 intensive studies. In the evening session, maybe I pick up a short subject like radiology, go through Dr. Sumer's LRR, and I am done and dusted. What do I do in the night session? Typically, I used to keep my night session for my wrong diaries. Always, I have done it like that. Even now, I do it. When I teach, and sometimes I feel, okay, I need to teach this in a better way, I need to improve myself. I will spend my 2 hours at night improving myself when I have no disturbance. I'm all by myself. My son is sleeping, or Sumer is busy doing something. So I will spend that time on personal growth. And I would keep that time for making me stronger, right? So keep your night time for your wrong diary. Dedicate at least 2 hours. I think you've joined late, Jen Sahib. The entire session was about wrong diary, so you can see it right from the beginning. I have given in detail how to make and how to follow the wrong diary, right? Also, a very important thing that I always tell my students, and I have done it myself, when I divide my day into morning, afternoon, evening sessions, I always keep the last 20 minutes of that session for MCQ solving. Okay, so I will actively study for 2 hours. The next 20 minutes, I will solve MCQs. Maybe like the mini test on transform 10x. Maybe I would do 20 MCQs, from the telegram of, Dr. Deepthi or whoever else is doing it. But after every active reading, I will spend 20 minutes in solving MCQs. Preferably, it could be a test paper because it has to be non-biased, made by a faculty, so that you are revising things that are really important. Okay. So try that out, divide your day, and give very well-defined targets for yourself in those specific time, because then you're more likely to achieve those targets. Okay. So I think we have pretty much taken all the queries, and I've told you in detail how to utilize the wrong diary. I will just request all you bachas to consistently follow wrong diary for at least 2 grand tests to see that jump in your number of correct, because it won't happen in 1 GT. So you need to give yourself at least 2 GTs or 3 GTs to see that jump, but it will surely be there. And once you consistently do it, you will realize that you're consistently increasing your number of correct questions. If you have any further queries or you're getting stuck, you can always ping me on my Telegram and I will answer your queries, right? And on this note, I'm going to wish you good luck. Okay, don't get scared. It is absolutely fine to make mistakes. Make as many as you want. This is the right time to do it. And then revise your mistakes. That's what is going to make you better. Okay, so don't worry. Galtiyan karo, magar unko repeat nahi karna hai, right? So have a wonderful day ahead, everyone. Take care. Loads of love and good wishes to all of you. Me and Dr. Sumaid will see you tomorrow in the Transform session. But yes, hey. Today I have INI PYQ Kebab gynecology session at 7 p.m. live on eMedicoz app. So I'm going to again try and give my best for today's session as well. So join me live at 7 p.m. for INI PYQ Kebab gynecology session. Okay, so take care, everyone. Bye-bye. See you.